Okay, we had another good physical practice. We're 5 practices down before the break. As I said earlier, we're just trying to get our guys to learn to practice, to finish practice. I think that we've taken steps in the right direction. I just got through telling our guys that I like where we're at this point as a unit. We have guys pushing themselves, trying to get better each day, trying to learn to practice, to hang in there mentally and physically. And so far, I think we're in a good position before the break.
What do you see out of Sean White so far?
Sean White, he can really throw the football. He's very accurate. He's got a strong arm. He understands trajectory and just knows where to put the ball in. He makes some impressive throws, and I think for the most part, he's done a good job executing the offense.
Was there anything specific you gave him kind of between it for this offseason to improve?
Well, really just to get more comfortable with the base offense. I mean, he did get some reps in the fall being the number 3 guy. So he has a good understanding of the base offense. It's just a matter of getting the quality reps. He didn't get the reps, that a number 2 guy would get. And so he's starting to learn. And we're rotating a lot of guys in our quarterback's defense. We're rotating a lot of guys up front, at the receiver position, the running back position. And it's a little bit of a challenge, first part of spring to make everything right around him. But he's in a good position. He's battling Jeremy Hard right now.
What, Jonathan Wallace, is he working exclusively at receiver?
He is. Jonathan Wallace has made the transition to receiver. He is in a position to help us this coming year. He's a smart guy. He's showing some toughness. Really, reminds me, he's got some similarities with Cody Burns. Understanding the offense, understands the defenses, and he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Because Kyle had gone through a similar change, Gus, why is Jonathan able to do it maybe even better than what Kyle was able to do in making that change?
Than who?
Kyle Frazier. In making
Kyle Frazier was a good quarterback. I thought he was a solid athlete at whatever position that you put him. Jonathan's had a little bit more time, in the fall and get prepared here in the spring.
How has Tyler Queen done so far?
He's really adjusting pretty well. I mean, we ask a lot of our quarterbacks, and you're talking about a guy that just got here, and we're putting in the installation, fairly quick. And so overall, I thought he's really handled it well.
Gus, on signing day, you said it'd be best case if he and Shannon came in and won the starting job this fall. So this spring, is Daniel not doing any punting at all?
Yeah, he is doing some punting, and we got a couple of walk-ons that are also competing right now, and we'll see what happens. I mean, the best guy's going to punt, and so we're going to let these guys compete, in the spring, and then Ian shows up, and we'll see who the best punter is.
What's the latest at H-back? I know Cam and Chris Lay, are they kind of in the mix there? What's the?
Cameron Petway, Chris Lay's doing a good job. I mean, we're trying to double train those guys, H-back and tight end. Chandler Cox is another guy that really has done well, picked up things well, and those 3 guys are primarily getting reps.
Would Cam Petway ever play?
Cam Petway what?
Would he ever play some tight end, or is he just?
Yeah, we're double training.
Okay.
The H-back and tight end, even like we had Eric Smith before. He had his hand down some, so we try to double train as much as we can.
You think with having Carl back out there and more offensive line for that matter, we might see Montravius Adams take that next step where last year we saw him, he had that quick burst early in games and the team just started loving him.
Yeah, and Montravius is a guy that's played for 2 years and has a lot of ability. And I know the coaches are pleased with where he's at. He's getting a lot of reps. And, not just him, but our entire defense, they're learning to play extremely hard, and they're getting strained right now. And so I feel good overall about where we'll be in the spring.
You've spoken of leadership also stepping up, Gus. You're replacing 2 captains. Reese came back last year, obviously, but replacing Gabe. How important is it to see somebody on both sides rise up and turn into the captain-esque kind of role? And do you have a feeling as to who that's going to be on each side at this point?
We're still working through that. We've got some guys that want to be leaders, but right now, they're trying to really earn the trust of their coaches, their teammates. Like I said last time, when you strain guys, usually the leaders rise to the top. And that's one of our goals, to get done with spring ball and have some established leaders. But it's a process, and it's something that's got to be consistent. A leader has to do it every day. So, we're in the process of, figuring all those things out.
How is Marcus Davis coming along, and what do you think his potential could be?
Yeah, Marcus Davis is one of the more reliable players that we have on offense. He just does a lot of things right. He can make some big plays for us, and I really believe this will be his year to take that next step. This really is a very reliable player.
You look at the offense and maybe doing more screens and balls and things like that. So do you think that opens the door for guys like Marcus a little more?
Well, I think overall, we'll have an emphasis on throwing the ball down the field, vertically down the field, and doing some things on the perimeter, and so our receivers will get plenty of chances.
Is Chris Frost kind of a natural leader for you guys?
Chris, he brings great energy, great effort. He is a guy that has played a lot of football that, is in position to step up as a leader.
You talk about today's practice. How was it, and what was your focus today?
Yeah, it was, padded practice. We're doing the half line, we're doing the inside, we're doing the team versus defense. We're getting after it. And, like I said earlier, we're going old school, trying to get our edge back, get our guys to bite. And, like I said, I think they've gotten better each practice. And overall, I feel good about where we're at, after 5 practices, regarding that, learning to fight through and finish practice.
Will you continue that kind of mindset next August?
Yes, no doubt.
How delicate is that balance? Obviously, you guys weren't as physical as you are right now in previous seasons of practice. How do you balance that?
Yeah, it's delicate, there's no doubt. But, we've got a new defense coordinator in, trying to establish his standards. We've got a lot of new guys on offense, and so we're letting guys compete. And we're being very physical, and that's the way you can evaluate them. And bottom line is getting our edge back. And so that's the most important thing.
When we talked to Carl last week, he's got an ability to kind of recall specific plays and things he's seen from other guys. Is that kind of rare for a defensive end to be that cerebral about the game?
He's got a football mind. Football is very important to him. He's got a football mind. He sees things, and he's a special player.
I guess I was just going to ask, what was it been like having Travaris and Lance out there? You've had 5 practices with them, kind of see how they work with the units hands-on.
With Will's the leader, they work extremely close together. They've got very good energy, and they're all on the same page. They're flat getting after it, and the standard's high over there.
You gonna get away from football for a while for spring break?
Yeah, I'm going to in a couple of days.
You talked about you made a speech today, right? Up in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was the Boy Scouts fundraiser. It's a great cause. There's a lot of people there, a lot of Auburn fans, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of that.
You get us to the end of the stuff off the field, and when you to the end of the stuff off the field in spring break, I know it's a very big weekend for you and your family. Just what is the feeling of going through this, and how much nerves or anything like that do you have?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I'm very excited. The youngest daughter getting married. Now that this last practice is over, we'll grade her film and kind of move on. With that, but I'm excited, and it's a big weekend. And, really looking forward to it.
Anything else?
Gus, you had a few players that left in the off season. The new NCAA guidelines concerning players leaving and then not being able to get an immediate waiver for eligibility. If a player, say, went to a school that came up and they thought that was not going to be an issue, would you be willing to bring them back?
Yeah, I don't want to get into hypotheticals. I guess you're talking about Hardy. His dad's extremely sick, and I was wanting him to get closer back, to his family. That's important to him. So that was unfortunate. And, I'm disappointed for him. Because Kari's a fine young man. His dad's a fine person too.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
All right.